Hi everyone, welcome to another video by Maths with Sarah. So today we're going to be tackling this probability question. It's slightly easier than some of the other questions that I've done recently. So it should be accessible to everybody. This question comes from it's question 3 on a paper 3. So it is a calculator paper, and it is the sort of question that I think probably most people will be able to tackle. So as with all these videos, I encourage you to pause the video now and have a think about how you would do it. If you can get to the answer, then great. If you get stuck, don't worry about it. Just come back after you've had a think about what technique or what methods you would use, and I will talk you through it. Okay, so this question's got a lot of information in it. So we've got two spinners, spinner A and spinner B, and each one can either land on red or white. So the probability of spinner A landing on red is 0.25 or a quarter, and the probability of spinner B landing on red is 0.6. They've filled in this probability tree diagram for you already, which makes the question a little bit more straightforward. So Alan spins for spinner A once and spinner B once, and he does this a number of times. So the number of times that both spinners land on red is 24. So if we're going down this branch, the spinner A is red and then spinner B is red. And we know that the number of times that it lands on red and red is 24. So it's asking us then to work out an estimate for the number of times that both the spinners land on white. So for that one, we'll go down first down this branch. So this is the white branch and then the white branch from there. And we want to know how many times this spinner is predicted to land on white. So when we're looking at these probability tree diagrams, remember that if we're looking for the probability of a combination, so in this case, we're looking for the probability that both spinners are going to land on red. So if we do that, the way to work out the overall probability, so we've got the probabilities for spinner A and spinner B individually, but to work out the total probability for red and red, we're going to do 0.25 times 0.6. So that's the probability it lands on spinner A, or on spinner A lands on red, times the probability that spinner B lands on red. And if you do this calculation for this, then you get 0.15. If we do the same for the white branch, if we do this, we're going to get 0.75. So that's the probability that spinner A lands on white, and then the probability that spinner B lands on white. So that would be times by that will be 0.4. And that, when you times this, remember you can either calculate it if you need to. This is a calculator paper, and we're going to get the answer as 0.3. So we know that the probability of both spinners landing on red is 0.15, and the number of times this outcome happened was 24 times. And we've been asked how many times predict, or an estimate of how many times both spinners land on white instead. Now you'll notice that the probability that both spinners land on red is exactly half the probability that both spinners land on white. So that actually makes it quite straightforward for us. So we know that 24, if we double that, so if we double this, if we double the probability from 0.15, we times that by 2, we get 0.3. So if we do the same for the number of outcomes, or the number of times this happens, we do it again, we times it by 2, because we know that the probability times is by 2, we'll then get 48 as the predicted number of times that both spinners land on white. So this question, I think, is relatively straightforward. I think what will throw a number of people is because the probability tree diagram is already drawn for you. Quite often, people will be thinking the question through as they make the tree diagram, and so because they've taken that step out for you, you really have to understand exactly how to use the tree diagram. You need to remember that you times the branches together that you need to use. And also remember that there are other combinations. So it's not just a case of both spinners landing on red or both spinners landing on white, which again is, I think, something that will catch a number of people out. Remember, we have got the other possibilities that we might get one red and one white. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. I hope that was useful for you. If you do have any requests for questions, just drop me a message, and please subscribe to my channel so that I can get more and more videos out to you. Thank you for listening.